Live from deep inside the Astrodome. Welcome to the Week 9 edition of the Douglas Report. I am your host for the day, Norman Jemal, alongside a very esteemed panel of guests. Look at this. On my left is Dr. Charles Abady of the Untouchables organization. Chucky, welcome.
Thank you, Norm.
And on my right, GM, manager, president, and CEO, and short center fielder, and captain of
and Astro headquarters.
Maurice Haber. Mo, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Everything is fantastic. Happy to be here with you two guys in your presence. Miss Bobby very much. I want to tell Bobby that I wish you only the best, only simahot, and my condolences again. And I don't know if anybody knows how hard Bobby works for this league. The guy's there, especially in the wet, in the rain, in the mud, in the snow, and the guy's always there. So we thank you for everything, Bobby, and we love you.
There you go. It was a little different not seeing Bobby before the games yesterday. There's usually something going on that someone is screaming at him about, and there was no one to scream at yesterday. So Bobby, yes, we do miss you.
No balls yesterday, by the way, Bobby, but we don't want to tell you.
We'll get to that. Don't worry about it.
No gold balls.
No gold balls. We heard about that story.
Well, Maurice, let's start with you. We had a huge matchup. The entire nation had their eyes on this matchup. Houston Astros versus Colorado Rockies. You guys came in 9-5, looking for a sweep, looking to get into first place. You had the chance.
Yes, we
and
did.
Why don't you walk us through what happened when you bowled
So,
in?
first of all, we played Sammy Towel's team. Sammy's a very good friend of mine, all-star first baseman, tremendous athlete, great captain.
Where's Maurice? Let's see with Maurice.
So we're playing the Rockies, and honestly, we controlled our destiny yesterday. If we won two, we could win out and get the bye, and that's what every team, goes for. We started the first game. It was a 0-0 game. Jackie Ashkenazi happens to be pitching fabulous. I know you told me to give you a plug, so I'm giving you a plug.
He told me also.
He told me to just make sure. But he is pitching unbelievable. They have a great team, Jackie Tawil, Jordy Rameld. And what happened is they scored first. It was a seesaw game. We left an army on base. We made a couple of errors. Our team, to be very honest with you, I lost control of my team a little bit for a couple of innings.
Really?
There was a lot of negativity. And I know that basically, you think our team are all-stars, but we do have some weaknesses out there.
Really?
But with all that being said, we had a chance to win. We left the bases loaded with no outs once, with one run coming in. First and third, yours truly was up, popped up, one with no outs. Albert Levy came up, hit into a double play. Haber was up in big spots. We just didn't come through. And you got to give Ralph Hannon credit. I mean, he did walk a lot of people, but he did come through when it matters. And there was a questionable call.
Yep.
It was in the 8th innings. It was extra innings. And
before we get to the 8th,
yes.
let's work. It sounds like the scoring opened with the Rockies, like you mentioned.
Yes.
And a little, not sure if it was an error or a bloop that fell in behind second base in front of right field.
No, it was Sonny Shalom and Louis Mastry were going for the ball. It was really Louis Mastry's ball. Sonny was calling for it. Louis is a quiet kid, so you really couldn't hear him. They both converged at the ball, and it popped out. And you can imagine what Saban was saying when that happened. Yeah, so you don't want to know about that. So obviously Norman knows a lot of that game. I was there, but Norman remembers that.
And also the inning, you said Hannon walked a few people. I hear through the grapevine there was an inning where Hannon actually walked to the first 3 guys of the inning to load the bases.
Yeah, Hannon can be erratic, as you all know, and he basically did walk the bases loaded. And they got out of it with 1 run. We just could not score and take a 2-3 run lead. I don't even think we had the lead the whole game. We just tied it, and we never had the lead.
Right, now you had a chance in the bottom of the 7th. You guys had the bottom, right?
We were the home team. I lost the flip, and we were the home team. And again, I think we left out of maybe 12 guys on base in that game.
Eshko tells me that in the bottom of the 7th, down 5-4, he hit a rocket line drive. I'm not sure how much of a rocket it was. It's coming from Eshko that went off Ralph's chest, and they forced the guy out at home for the first out.
He hit a line drive. It hit Ralph's chest, and they did force a line drive. But we just didn't have the breaks. We just didn't come through at the end.
And then Mo Shama coming up next with 1 out, tied the game with a sac fly.
Mo Shama went the opposite way. He didn't hit a sac fly. He hit it to first base, and the run scored. We tied the game. Then they came back with 2 outs.
You're saying always hit a ground ball to first base?
Yeah, ground ball to All-Star Sammy Tawil, and the run scored from third.
Okay. There was just a man on third.
There was a man at third base.
Okay.
Actually, it was first and third.
First and third.
First and third, one out.
First and third, one out, and Mo goes with a ground ball.
He went with a ground ball, and he gave himself up. He later said, I should have went for a double to win the game.
Should have gone with a gap,
You know what? He's a team player that he is, and he trusted the guys behind him.
With one out.
And it didn't happen.
With one out.
Savon had some
I think you got to drive it to the right center field gap. That run's going to score. Maurice doesn't have to give up an out.
I think if Maurice had to do it again, as he said, he would probably go for a hit.
Yeah.
But he gave his at bat up to tie the game.
What do you think of that?
I think you're right. I think you got to go for at least find the outfield because there's a man on third. So
yeah.
the worst case, the guy's going to
drive the ball. I'm driving the ball wherever the heck I want.
And if you find the gap, you win the game.
Listen, Norman, we had our big guys up in every situation. We only have ourselves to blame. Sammy Tawil, after the game, came up and said, really, you guys have a fantastic team. I don't know if that was just a gas, but he said you have a fantastic team, and we stole one from you.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that after a game.
No, you don't want to hear. It's good to hear you have a good team, but you
don't want to hear that he stole one. But I do want to get back to my play, unless you have any other questions.
No, go for it. Now
so basically, we're in extra innings after Mo Shama gave up his at bat. I led off the bottom of the 8th inning, down 1 run, 6-5. I believe the score was 6-5. I led off. I hit a patented right field shot. That was a fair ball in a lot of people's mind. And Ray, our beautiful friend, Eddie Michon's friend, that he sent home 2 weeks ago, basically looked at me and he goes, foul ball.
And you're the one that brought Ray back.
Right.
I'm the one who brought Ray back. I heard your show yesterday, you guys. Maurice Haber, who?
The Peacemaker.
The Peacemaker. Ripley's Believe It or Not. I remember the whole gas with the teepee out there. But the bottom line is Ray did not come through for me. And we lost the double. We lost the lead-off double. Now, what happened after that is I did get a base hit. And I led off the inning with a base hit. But unfortunately, there was a ground ball that moved me to second and a ground ball that moved me to third. And then a fly out by Louis Masters, unfortunately.
It sounds like you went to Ray like George Brett is what's being described on a video feed, that you went charging.
Pine tar incident. Pine tar.
I like balls popping out of your head.
I have to tell you, it was a big part of the game. The umpire tried to soothe me and say, what are you worried about? If you're on second, there would be 2 ground balls. You wouldn't have scored anyway because they would have threw it at home. I go, the scenarios would have been different.
Totally different.
It is what it is, but you got to give them credit. They did win the game.
Now, how did they score in the top of the 8th?
So, Jordy Ramel hit a rocket. By the way, Jordy has really come a long way since I played with him. He's very mature now. I know he still screams and yells, but you know what? He's very into the game. He wants to win, and he's a fantastic hitter. Fantastic hitter. Jackie Tawil, a great hitter. Those 2 guys are really one of the best 2 tandems in this league right now, I believe.
Yeah,
so he hit a triple, and then JT singled him home. We wanted to walk JT, but I was ousted with that decision, and we didn't walk him, and then he got a hit. He scored. They took a lead with 2 outs.
So how were you ousted out of the decision?
So basically, sometimes when there's about 8 voices yelling, you're going to be second and triple and quadruple guessed. And sometimes you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go with the pitcher who doesn't want to face the all-star first baseman, Sammy Tawil. Not that he's, young anymore, but you'd rather face Sammy Tawil than Jackie Tawil there in that spot.
Okay, I got to back it up a second.
Sure.
Okay.
Jordy triples with him. Is a leadoff triple?
No, 2-out triple.
2-out triple.
And JT's up.
And JT's up.
Okay. We don't walk him.
Okay.
We pitch
Maurice,
to JT.
I'm disappointed.
Yes, you should be disappointed. And I told you I lost my team for a couple of innings.
Jackie Tawil, Sammy Tawil, set up a force at first and second.
Well, the pitcher comes to you and says, I want to pitch this guy hard. I got it. And that's
the kiss of death. That's the biggest con.
And you know what, Chucky,
I won't give him anything
in the regular season.
Maurice, I won't give him anything good to hit. I'll pitch him hard.
I hit a line
I got him. They always think they got him. If they don't think they got him, they shouldn't be your pitcher. But it's not the pitcher's decision.
It's my decision. I agree with you. I will take full responsibility for that.
Is in his prime.
And he hit a BB.
And then what did Sammy do?
Made out.
Okay.
There you go.
Wow, Chucky brought his boxing
really. Wow, I'm sweating in here. I thought it was the air condition, but
my goodness, wow.
I want to know who's up after Sammy.
Sammy, Ralph, the pitcher, had it.
I'm almost inclined.
No.
I'm just saying, in the Stevie Azar scenario, when he was on the mound, I'm not leaving Jackie Tawil up with a man on third.
2 outs, right.
2 outs. When I can set up, hard ground ball, even if it's bobbled, Jackie Tawil's safe and the game is over. Sammy, going the other way, pulls the ball. I got to force it second. I got a little slower runner. I think everything speaks to Even though he's future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, got it. Hey, it happens.
Okay. 28-time perennial All-Star at first base. Now, what's this I'm seeing here about Farka is in left field now, by the way, not in center.
You guys had got me on the Michael Beta situation.
Yes.
Was shot down immediately. I want to tell you, David Farka was giving us a play-by-play of his doctor visits.
Okay.
He went to get an MRI. He basically sent a text message to me saying, my hamstring is torn. When you hear that, you basically, but I'm fine. So I didn't understand what he said. So he went to get an MRI, and the guy said, you just stay off for a week. But I have to tell you, David Farka is a trooper. He really, I believe he's an MVP candidate this year. Like you said, Norman, he's carrying our team, and he felt fine. He did play volleyball at Jeff Sutton's son's house yesterday and hurt his arm, which I told him why he's playing. So he came in and said, Mo Haber, my arm is hurting me. I go, what about the hamstring? He goes, that's fine, but my arm is hurting me. So I don't know if he's 23, 24, but this guy's getting injured more than anybody I've seen. But really, at the end of the day, he's carrying our team. And I'll tell you that in game 2, what he did.
So let's go.
So basically in game 2, it was a 2-2 tie. We were down 2-1. Our persona was terrible. Our body language was horrible. Each guy was at a different place. One guy was smoking on the left side. One guy was sitting there not having anybody to talk to. One guy was in the bushes watching Richie Braha walking all over the field with his shirt off. And our team was just in a mess. Wow. We did have a speech from yours truly, the captain, which I did something right. And I put the team together and I said, I've seen winners and losers before, and this is a losing team right now the way we are. No more negative talk, no more bickering, no more sarcastic remarks. Let's just be positive, put our hands together and just be positive. We scored 4 runs after
I give you a lot of credit for that, Maurice.
You should have had the speech. I wish it was on the show, but it wasn't. So at the end of the day, David Farka came up with the bases loaded, and the ball is still traveling, Norman. I don't know if it was against you here.
It was against us.
Okay, it was the same type of shot. He launched one, and 3 runs scored.
Okay, I want to know the story with the bases loaded. How many outs?
No outs.
Are they going for outfield? This is my next question.
Absolutely not.
I gotta question some of the.
And it was a shot over his head.
Yeah, but you gotta.
It was a pitch over his head.
Pitch over his head.
And he just
gapped it, or he just crushed it.
Pushed over the right fielder's head, still running.
Yeah,
there's no shot.
Okay, look. Good luck with the,
And that was the game.
Well, bases loaded, nobody out. You're already in trouble.
You're in trouble.
No, you're in big trouble. But when you get these guys up on occasion, you got to be thinking 4 outfielders. You got to be thinking if there's an open base.
Chucky, with all due respect, even if that's 6 outfielders, it was so far over his head, it wouldn't have mattered. So that was our game.
That was your game.
We came back. We took a split. We don't control our destiny anymore. And our team is very upset about that. The one thing I tell you about the Astros, and I know we had different teams, Maurice's pieces together, but the Astros feel like we got swept every week if we split. Every week. A guy go, we suck, we're terrible, we're this. You know what? I get text messages all day long, and the team really wants to win. So I think if we put ourselves together in the playoffs, we could be a tough out.
Now, Maurice, your team obviously has the talent from day one. I mean, the team you drafted, when everyone saw it in the preseason show, everyone was oohing and eyeing how crazy this lineup is going to be. The only question at the time was Eshko, and Eshko seems to be panning out beautifully. Now the question is, going into the playoffs, is your team mentally stable enough to handle a playoff situation, or is the team all going to erupt and beat the crap out of each other?
So that's an excellent question. And Chucky says, as Chucky's a captain, and he knows he played with me last year, that I could be a good captain. And I had a 40-minute talk with key guys on my team, basically explaining to them what they need to do to clean it up. So our weakness has exactly as what you said, as we could erupt at any time, but a lot of guys have bought into what I've said, and only time will tell, Norman.
Okay, we shall see. You guys got away with a split. Everyone from both teams says that you left, like you said, an army of men on the bases in game 1.
Yes.
So you guys definitely could have swept, but you did not. So let's see where you ended up here. 10-6. You have Helter Skelter coming up next week.
Who was short-handed with 9 guys, which is a kiss of death in my opinion.
Okay.
The no-win situation.
I got you. That's exactly right.
Yes.
But you're still in a very, very fine position. You clinched a while ago, and we'll see where you end up.
So now what happens is
the
the Rockies, and I don't want to get into it because we're going to talk in the show, have to split, and we have to sweep for a chance to get the bye. We would get the bye.
Okay. Now, on my left, Dr. Abady, second guessing almost every decision that Maurice has made in his game. Let's see how you guys ended up in your game.
No, just to clarify, Maurice's decision, I'm not second guessing Maurice's decision. I'm second guessing the fact that Maurice did not impose his will on the team on the field. His decision was the correct decision. I don't care if 9 guys want to change that decision. Maurice, at the end of the day, it's his call. He's the captain, he's the veteran, he's the leader.
But he didn't go with his call.
He went with the pitcher. I mean, you gotta, reconsider that. And I'm sure Maurice, he's cutting him some slack. But if it was a playoff scenario, that's not happening.
Absolutely.
Jackie Towil's not swinging that bat.
Absolutely.
Okay, I figured I'll go with my pitcher, and then they'll know. And for the future, I get the next call.
And now he saw how his pitcher actually responds to that. He gave Eshkol the opportunity to get that guy out like he said he's going to, or pitch around him, or whatever he told you he was going to do. You gave him the chance. He didn't get it done. Now you store that in your
Thank you.
in your head over there. We see what happens in the postseason.
Yeah.
Now, Chucky.
Yeah.
Untouchables versus Hebrew Nationals. Hebrew Nationals have been playing good ball coming into your game. You're coming off a big sweep of the Colorado Rockies. So both teams coming in playing well. And I don't know much about your games, but I do see 2 goose eggs for the Hebrew Nationals. 2 shutout games in softball consecutive. I can't remember the last time seeing that when I looked up the scores after a game. So please walk us through this.
Okay, so I want to just set the table by the previous weekend against the Rockies. We had a 1-0 shutout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another goose egg that Leo Casson threw up. And then the second game, a 5-2 game, where we had a shutout through about 5 innings. The gentleman's given up 2 runs in the last 28 innings. He's got an ERA of .50. The game setting is such that Jaime Shama is on his way to Israel.
Okay.
And Jackie Haber is attending festivities, a concert that seems to be popular. Firefly. No clue.
Cat's out of the bag.
Is that another group, or that's the cat's out of the bag?
That's from all England,
okay.
a long time ago.
Okay, so he wasn't at the Beatles. I don't have a clue. Now they are playing with 9. Again, the kiss of death. This is Hebrew Nationals. Again, we dwelt a little bit last week, Norman, you and I, on the plethora of athletes that are, teams that are short.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic. It's like the bubonic plague.
Yes.
You gotta get that movie from like the bubonic plague. Losing is like, okay, so in any event, they have...
Who are they missing, first of all?
Okay, I don't even know who's on their team, but they got Saka on the mound. They got A.B. Saka.
They're missing Albert Tawil, who went to the same concert.
Okay.
And that was it. They weren't missing anybody else.
But they only have 9 guys on the field.
Okay, I'll look at it.
They have 9 guys on the field. And we are playing, not like I said the other day, Jack Abady elects not to play shortstop.
Really?
So he's going to remain at third base, and he's going to defer to Mark Braha at short.
Wow.
We go with Jackie Bawaba at short center, Sifu at second, Stephen Batesh at first, and our normal outfield of DK, Joe Chira, A.B. Dweck. DK fulfills the prophecy when we picked him in the 4th round. His father, Bobby, Hall of Famer Bobby Casson, is there, videoing.
Oh, wow.
And Bobby goes 5 for 6.
Okay, DK goes 5 for 6.
Right. Yeah, not Bobby, but Bobby's son. Of course, DK goes 5 for 6.
Wow.
In clutch in every situation. A.B. Dweck must have heard the show from the week before.
You made diving stops or something.
Diving stop, but he didn't come with the hoodie on.
Okay.
His eyes were open.
He's not inebriated.
Not inebriated.
Where was he? In right field?
In right field.
Okay,
and now with this outfield of DK, who makes a staggering play in left center, Joe Chira, who makes a couple of them in center field, in addition to throwing out a guy in third with a laser, and A.B. Dweck, who makes a game-saving catch in the 7th inning of Game 2.
Wow.
I mean, it's an outfield, young, fast, hungry, qualified. You got it. The defense in the infield, we miss Jackie Haber. He turns the whole team around.
He has been playing well.
He's super. We've been batting him second, and he's been, everything you could hope for. That being said, there was a situation in the 3-0 game in the 6th inning of the second game. I think it's Moni Abadi's going to hit a rocket up the middle.
That's my nephew.
It's a rocket up the middle. I don't know how Jackie Bawaba gets down. He backhands the ball going towards the shortstop and comes up throwing to third for the force.
Wow.
Sick.
So is Jackie Bawaba now, does he secure a position
Jackie
in this
Bawaba
league?
is secure. He is not an add-on pick. He's a hitter. and he can play short center, second base, or first
He's
base.
now contributed to your games
He
2 weeks in a row.
is a must-play player.
Good for you, Jack.
Beyond the attitude, which was
Great team
stellar
player.
in past years, he brings a little chair, some sunflower seeds, and he sits behind me as I coach third base. He's got a smile from ear to ear. He's a pleasure, and he's a player. He hit a bunch of rockets, and he's a player.
So what happened with Abady Dweck here in right field that you say he saved the game?
Okay, so in the last inning of the second game, we're up 3-0, and I think we're going to get into this little walk scenario once again, where they get a first and second with 2 outs,
Okay.
and A.B. Cohen's up. Now,
So
this is
Leo walked those 2 guys for first and second?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that. I told Leo if it was
Nobody's
a mistake.
watching, don't worry, it's fine.
If it's a mistake, I don't know, but they have first and second.
Okay.
Now, this is a situation where I might second guess where we probably could have gone 4 outfielders.
Right, it's first
Because
and
the
second.
tying one is at the plate, and he's a big hitter. We don't, and he hits a rocket up the gap in right center field, and if you ask A.B. Cohen, I'm rounding second as the play is made. A.B. Dweck makes a backhand. Did you see that play by the Puig guy on the Dodgers?
Against the Mets.
In right center field gap.
When he dove backwards?
Dove backwards.
That was against the Mets.
This
Same
was
play,
similar
same
play.
similar as
Diving to the
Puig.
backhand
Human.
side, 2 inches off the ground, full extension. And of course, the entire dugout, what are they yelling? He trapped it. He
Oh,
trapped it.
God.
Mathematically impossible for him to have trapped it. And that was the end of the game. Another walk-off spectacular play.
Now, most of A.B. Dweck's diving catches are usually on wrong angles, wrong routes.
Took a perfect route, got a great break, and shocker catch. Unbelievable. I'll go back into the game for just a moment. Jason was the umpire.
Okay.
Oh my God, he came back?
He came back. He
Wow,
came
they
back.
must be desperate.
He had a lot what to say about, the past, his relationship with A.B. Cohen. A.B. came over and hugged him out.
Okay.
It was a very nice gesture. There was a couple of plays that typically would have ended in explosions on the field. There was one play where I was up with the bases loaded. I hit a ground ball up the middle. Now again, they don't have an infielder there.
Right.
They only have the regular infield. Abady goes to make the play to his glove side, and he collides with Stephen Batesh.
Oh my. Where is Stephen Batesh playing?
He's on second. He's on second plus
Oh,
running
bad.
to third. So
Okay.
he
He's the
kinda-
runner.
He's the runner, not the fielder. Okay.
Okay, the ball, Stephen gets kind of like put off in his direction. The
Right.
ball goes to center field, and they throw Stephen Batesh out at third.
Okay. Was that the right call?
Now, okay, so there's a discussion on the call, interference. Stevens claiming it's the fielder's interference. The fielder is claiming it's Stevens. It was incidental contact. They rule nothing on the play.
From what I understand, the rule is you have to let the fielder field the
They
ball.
ruled obstruction on Steven, but he got thrown out anyway. So
But he
they
got
changed
thrown
the
out
result.
anyway.
So
They-
the run
he obstructed with
the run
Moni.
scored.
He obstructed with Moni, the run
Okay.
The
scored.
rule, just so everyone knows, is you have to let the fielder
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
the
It's
ball.
just
And not
right away.
touch the
Yeah.
fielder.
Steven didn't do that.
Stephen
Got
didn't
it.
do that,
All right.
but the play got thrown out at third. I mean, this is typical where it could have been a 40-minute discussion
Yeah,
and
yeah.
guys going berserk.
You would have needed Mo Haber to come
would
get
have
the
to
umpire
come in,
back.
right.
Okay.
And
Finish
he was shot
on
with the
the
peacemakers.
with the story. I mean, it was a very not only well played afternoon, but well disciplined in terms of, minimal amount of umpire abuse. And it was a nice game to be at. We finished in, record time. It was like Mark Burley on the mound.
Okay.
We've done a
2-hour game, beautiful.
2-hour game, 2-hour doubleheader. And can't say enough about Leo Casson.
So can I talk to you about Leo Casson? So we both were on the same team last
Yeah.
year, and you caught Leo Casson.
Yeah.
What is the difference this year from last year,
If any.
if any?
Okay.
Please tell me the truth.
So the umpires were talking to me in about inning 6 of game 2, and they tell me you're abusing this guy like he's getting rocked, and he's throwing 13 shutout innings. I
You
think.
didn't cover, you don't back up, I'm throwing you out. Yeah, the old Chucky.
So, and I'm abusing a lot of the players.
You're abusing
Right, it's not just
I'm an
Leo,
equal opportunity
yeah.
abuser.
Yes.
There's a ground ball to short. They flip to Marshall at second for 1. We don't have a double play, and Adam throws to first. He makes a nice play, but I'm killing him. There's no throw on that.
Right.
An inning later, same play, and he holds on to the ball. This is a team that you got to stay on top of, I feel. And that's what I think is going on with Leo. He's got to throw strike 1, strike 2. He's got to stop over pitching. If he can stop over pitching and go with the, as we said last week, the Maurice Safdie, school of just throw strikes, he's got better than average stuff.
He does.
So bottom line, you guys rebounded from the week you were missing. You guys got swept by the old men of summer.
Yeah,
You went.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. You were 4-8. You weren't there to abuse your team.
Right.
But maybe you're contributing something apparently, because when you weren't there, they got swept by one of the worst teams in the league.
Right.
Now you came back and you won 4 in a row against the Rockies and the Hebrew Nationals.
Right.
And you guys are now 8-8, 4-game winning streak, and people are already saying that's one team I don't want to face in the postseason, assuming you get there,
Right.
which it seems 99% you
You
will.
will. But to say that, like you told me, your weakness coming in, you have a great team. You have 2 center fielders, Jack Abady, Jackie Haber, Joe Chira. Your weakness, everybody was saying, is your pitcher. How do you feel at this point in time? I know you feel great now, but how do you feel going into a playoff game knowing what happened to All In last year?
Look, I think everything is a learning experience. I think Leo has pitched well in tournament games. I think he's a more relaxed pitcher, despite the abuse.
Matured.
He doesn't seem to get rattled by me, which is probably rattling him more than opposition. I'm confident. I'm confident that, look, this is not a guy who's been in the league 15 years,
Right.
and what you see is what you get.
He can be a star in the league, and Norman's been saying that this is the year.
And
this is the year.
it
This
should
is
be
the
the year, but
and I haven't seen it.
You know what? I can't see Leo going against a team like yours with a potent lineup like you have. I can't.
He
see
faced
him,
us in the beginning when we were down, and he beat us, twice.
but that
there-
was week 1.
But there is breaking news. I don't know if anybody knows. Leo is not going to be there next week.
We know.
And he's going to be in Israel. So, I mean, I don't know who you're going to pitch
We're
then.
pitching Jackie Buwabe.
Oh!
Why not pitch Jack Abady so we could play every position?
Jackie, by the way, can win you 2 big games. He's done it for me.
Yes. Or Jack Abady. I don't know. When I get to
No,
the
I don't think
field,
Jack Abady.
my Jack tells me what's going on. So this is just a conjecture on my
We'll
part.
get to next
We'll get
week
to
in a
that, yeah.
second. Now, let's go over to a very, very big matchup. Boys of Summer versus the Cardinals. These two teams entered the week both at 5-9. One of them needed a sweep because if they both split, it would do nothing for anybody except the rest of us, and everyone else would have been elevated as they sunk down. Game 1.
No Norwood.
No Norwood due to the suspension. Now, Mavora is still livid that he was suspended.
I don't agree with that at all, with
You're-
what Mora was saying. DK really didn't do anything wrong, and I think you left. You weren't there the first week. You had to go somewhere.
I had to go.
And DK really didn't know the rule. I mean, that was BS. He got suspended, and he was out the next game.
I was at a Firefly.
Oh, you were at the Firefly? Okay, Paul
It's not a
McCartney
concert.
concert.
It's not a concert.
It's a festival.
It's a festival with
They're blowing up the
DJs
White
and
House
tents.
for
Jigga went and he told me I'm going to a
Jigga!
festival.
Oh my God, Jigga!
By the way, Jigga's on Old Men of Summer also.
Oh
for
my
the last
God.
2 weeks.
I didn't know that.
It's a
And he
festival.
already missed the game. And he goes, it's not a concert, it's a festival.
It's a
So I said,
festival,
okay,
yes.
that was my last question on that.
Okay.
So without Norwood, and by the way, no Norwood at second base played a huge role in this particular
Norwood's
game.
the key to that team.
Norwood's the key to that team, and a problem every week so far that he's played.
I just want to go back in history. Who is Norwood replacing that is the key to this team?
I'll tell you, Norwood replaced a slot
Yes.
for a slot in the 7th round after the committee. I don't know who's on the committee anymore.
ridiculous decision.
Ridiculous
Ridiculous.
decision. And the slot was, can you help me out with who the slot
It
was?
was a Roditi.
Jacob Cohen was drafted in the 5th round.
Oh no.
Way too early.
Hakeem. Eddie Hakeem.
No. Jacob Cohen was drafted in the 5th round.
Okay.
So by rule, since Jacob Cohen went out for the year, they're entitled to a 5th rounder, even though it was a way early pick.
Right.
So what they did was, Hebrew Nationals acquired Norwood for Jacob Cohen, and then immediately traded him
Right.
to the Boys of
It
Summer
was a sign and trade.
for.
I don't know what you're saying, but it's terrible.
There
Norwood
was
is
cash
not.
involved.
There was
There had to be something on the side.
By the way,
Yeah.
like the guy in the A's.
Terrible.
another ridiculous committee decision this year was this Moses fiasco. How he was on your team, that I had to face him on the Old Men of Summer.
This is not a
It made
committee
no
bashing.
sense. The committee needs to be
This
bashed
is
on
Norman's
their own-
only time he can bash the committee.
ridiculous that they don't use their head sometimes.
I want you to know I had nothing to do with the Moses situation. Moses has been a trooper, has been sitting on our bench waiting for Jackie Eshko to blow up the whole year.
Okay,
Praying
fine.
he leave it.
How did he end up on the Old Men of Summer? I don't understand.
I got a call from our commissioner, our beloved commissioner,
Beloved
saying,
commissioner.
do me a favor, give the guy some playing time. The team sucks. Put him on the team. I said, that's fine, but I'll tell you what. And he was
sucks.
playing. They were playing you at the week. I heard you went ballistic, by the way.
Yeah.
and I don't blame you. But they said
And
most
the committee, nobody answers me when I'm going ballistic. Everyone just ignores me all of a sudden.
So one thing I want to tell you, so I came to the
We're gonna bring
field.
the Expos back in.
Totally ridiculous.
You shut that.
I came to the field to watch Moses play, and he goes, "Please get me off this team and put me back on your team again."
Yes, he was not happy on that.
It
team.
worked out for you that way.
Now listen to this. Boys of Summer fighting for their season. They're 5-9. They're down 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Ike Mavora, at 44 years old, their center fielder, or their outfielder, or whatever position he's playing, is on first base. Their team's down by 1, 2 outs. They lose this game, they're basically done. Steven Safdie, who they traded for Sam Michon, and who's having a great year on a bad team, hits some sort of gapper, and Mavora scores all the way from first. He said he thought for sure he's stopping at third, but Jackie Haddon, as third base coach, is automatically waving you in. It doesn't matter if the third baseman's holding the ball. It doesn't matter if the catcher's holding the ball. Jackie Haddon's waving you in because that's how he runs.
Right.
So he thinks everyone else could run like that. They tied the game at 3.
Great.
Wow.
Now, inning later, bottom 8th or bottom 9th, they have a man on third with 1 out. David Harari is up. He came in the same trade that Steven Safdie came in for Sam Michon. Man on third, 1 out. You want him to just fly out, put the ball in play, something. He pops up, possibly in foul territory, possibly right at the third base bag.
How many outs? 1 out?
There was 1 out only. They could have won the game right there with almost anything.
Oh, wow. Season on the line.
He's not going to be sleeping.
Go to the bottom of the 11th. They have another chance. There's bases loaded, 2 outs. Jackie had it up.
Wow.
He hits a hard line drive off of Maxie Deed's glove or shoulder, depending on who you ask, and directly to David Bracca's glove.
Oh my.
Out. Inning over. To the 12th they go. And here's where Norwood comes into play. Ground ball right to the second baseman, filling in A.B. Salem. E4, error, man on first. Next pitch.
Go over and ate it up.
Line drive right to the second baseman. Another error. Men on first and second. Nobody out. And then Bracca comes up, the same guy who made the catch in the previous inning.
How often does that happen?
How many times do we see it? And he hits a ball inside that gap between Jackie Haddon and Nathan Tawil. Now, ball goes deep. These 2 old men are running after it. Bracca, an old man himself, is on third base with a stand-up triple to left center. So go figure how far the ball went, I guess, or how slow the outfielders are, or both. And they ended up winning 8-5 in extra innings. And everyone on the Cardinals are telling me that the old men of summer had a different outfield alignment this week than they've been playing in previous weeks.
3 outfielders or 4?
4 outfielders,
Okay,
but basically 2 right fielders. Nathan alone in left field.
Right.
Jackie basically straightaway center.
And then
Mavora
and David Harari.
Steven Safdie.
They took Steven out of left. Oh,
They
man.
moved him from left to right. They moved Mavora to right center. Haddon straightaway center. Nathan alone on an
So
island.
did that
to
come
left.
into play?
Well, the Bracca gap.
The Bracca gap.
gap.
right
Bracca
between
gap.
them.
I mean, if you split those outfielders equidistant, Jackie Haddon's in left center.
Right. I guess so.
And,
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
David, what do you mean?
I don't know. You know, you can't say what's going to happen.
No, I'm not saying what's going to happen, but Bracca's capable and likes that spot.
Right. So they should have been smarter and then...
I'm just saying, if Sammy Towel's up, you can't give him the left center
No,
field
you
gap.
can't. He pokes it there all
He
the
pokes
time.
it. So David Bracca, I'm watching him for 10 years.
So
I mean,
some bad scouting.
if I'm going 4 outfielders, I don't have to protect what I keep. I'm a Mavora and Steven
Absolutely.
Safdie. I don't have to have 3 guys. This is not the Blue Jays with a shift or a Devil
So
Rays.
virtually that was their season.
Wow.
That was basically this
Because
season.
they must have locked it up.
They took a 2-0 lead early in game 2, but then they locked it up.
Wow.
They lost both, and the Cardinals very, very much alive.
Coming
The
right
Cardinals,
back.
with the sweep. They started the week like you started last week. They
Right.
started on the outside looking in,
Now they're in.
and now they're on the inside looking out.
Now, does this go back to your sweep, get swept?
They did an extra sweep in that.
Right.
But bottom line is, whatever they do in game 1, they do in game 2. They keep getting swept.
They lose,
and
they
keep
lose.
sweeping.
They win, they win.
Yeah.
Okay, but I played them this week, and they swept last week, so.
You should sweep them.
So there's the prediction. Let's wait for
I
that.
don't know where the dice are going to come up. Okay.
Only one time they didn't go with that. They got swept 2 times in a row, which is why they were on the outside looking in. But now they're at 7-9. They're currently in 7th place, and we're going to talk about what they need to do to get eliminated, what they need to do to stay alive. The reason they're in 7th place is because the Cleveland Indians are in town
TP.
The TV. Taking care of the Brooklyn Dodgers and Stevie Azer in a very, very impressive game, if I don't say so myself. Beautifully played ball game. Stevie Azer on the mound for the Dodgers. What a pitcher this guy is. Inside corner, outside corner, changing the speeds. Really a different level than most of the pitchers in this league. Really, really talented and in control. And basically this was a tight 0-0 game all the way to the second inning.
Wow.
With 2 outs, men on first and second, Norman Gaz comes to the plate.
Oh.
Now the men on first and second were both on via infield errors by the Brooklyn Dodgers. So Indians caught a definite break. Norman Gaz rips a beautiful line drive to left field. This guy has so many clutch hits this year, it's amazing. Run scores to make it 1-0. Usually that's the scoring output for the Indians, right? We take that for as long as we can go. Next guy, Daniel Tawil, number 1 in our hearts, still draws a long at bat, draws a walk to load the bases with 2 outs. Up comes Joseph Jamal, 7 pitch at bat, 8 pitch at bat. He's our leadoff man now.
Yeah.
He launched one deep, way over the left fielder's head. I never saw him hit a ball like this.
Wow.
Stand up, base clearing, 2 out triple.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, I know him obviously my whole life. I never saw him hit a ball this far in my life. It was like,
You probably know him his whole life.
yeah, and I told him, where the hell did that come from? I mean, he's having a phenomenal year, hitting base hits, singles, doubles, singles, doubles.
And look, Stevie Azer.
It
That's
was
amazing.
rising up over the left fielder. I could not believe it.
Now, what's the score at the time?
So it was 1-0. He
And
made
then-
it 4-0.
It's over.
Carlos Abady next at bat, next pitch, boom, base hit, got him off.
All with
That's
2
it.
outs.
All with
Oh,
2
wow.
outs.
All with 2 outs.
How beautiful is that with 2 outs?
So let me ask you a question. The Brooklyn Dodgers not hitting at all does not make any sense. Ali Marshall's not having a great year, obviously, for himself or even for a regular guy. Jimmy Malak is having an okay year, but really they have nothing else. What's your take on their lineup?
It's hard to believe with that lineup, with those 2 guys, not that whole, because their team is very short.
Very short.
The bottom of their lineup is weak. It's not good. They were a little short-handed. They didn't have Jacob Wasser. I don't know if he's that good.
He's
or not.
all right. He's all right. I
I don't
played
know.
him. He's a decent kid.
But Ali hit the ball hard. He hit one very, very deep to left field. Jimmy hit one to right. Jimmy's average and his RBIs look better than it really is.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Ali keeps scoring from second on sac flies.
Absolutely.
So he doesn't get the at-bat. His average stays where it is. He gets another RBI, but, they're just not hitting to their capabilities.
So I have an opinion on that. Yeah, you guys talked on the last show about this dual pitcher combination.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that 1,000%.
Okay.
You don't know who's showing up. The team doesn't know who they have. The pitcher comes up, feels like an outsider. Azer's great, but I don't think he thinks it's his team. And I passed up on that and took Farker when I could have had Jeffrey Saka and Stevie Azer, and I wouldn't do it because in the night league I had A.B. Cohen, A.B. Saka, and David Gindi, and I didn't make the playoffs. And it just doesn't make sense. You want to go with one guy who's your guy who feels like it's his team, and I disagree with that at all. And I think they should ban that.
He's definitely not a part of the team.
No,
the way
he's
a
not.
regular pitcher would be part of the
Absolutely not.
team. That's for sure.
No, but our contention was not an agree-disagree. In other words,
You wanted to get Saka in because he does a lot for this league, and he's a good
and
pitcher.
it's a
But
the
you know
question
what?
if
This
you as
league
the
doesn't
captain,
need it.
in your insightful, manner,
Yes.
don't
Thank
want
you
that
very much.
two-headed, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
Right.
That's the
I think,
situation.
exactly.
So you didn't draft
The
him,
Jets.
and I didn't draft him.
And that was the reason, but
Yeah.
somebody else did, and look where they are now.
But why can't Jeffrey enter the league and everyone knows what weeks he's missing, the way JT was missing weeks or whatever,
And
and,
that's
then you draft him in the 5th round because you know he's missing
Exactly.
June 16th, June 23rd, whatever.
I would sooner do that and take a Moses, maybe to fill in, or just somebody else that could throw the ball. We get Jackie Bawaba going this
That's
week,
all.
or whatever you have,
Right.
have to do.
Right.
But I think what Maurice is saying is very astute in that, the team doesn't know who, and you really can't be that vocal. You haven't been there for the last 4
And
weeks.
Norman,
Right.
in softball, it's all about camaraderie and
Of course.
togetherness, and I don't think this team's together, and I don't see them making the playoffs.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's my son, and I feel horrible for him, but you know what? I don't like their team. Sorry. So that's a wake-up call. See if you can win this week.
Now, game 2, a 0-0 thriller. Typical Cleveland Indians softball. 0-0 first inning, second inning, third inning. Dodgers had men on. They ran themselves out of a ridiculous inning. First and second, nobody out. Fly ball to right field, routine fly ball. Marty
Abraham
the G,
Haber.
coaching third, yells tag, meaning the guy in second should tag the
The
third.
first guy threw
Eddie
it.
Richie hit it.
No, this
Oh,
was
Abraham told me Eddie Richie
no,
hit
that's
it.
later. That's it. I was talking about then.
Sorry.
The guy from first takes.
Got it.
The guy from first also tags. Joseph throws the ball. He's out by a few
20
feet.
feet.
They claim he was safe. They're arguing about
course
where
he
the
was
hell is
safe.
he going.
Of course he's there. He got under the tag, I assume.
Exactly. Around the tag.
Amy Cohen had one with that. I got under the tag. You know,
Right.
out by 37 feet.
So they ran themselves out of a couple of innings. It would drive you crazy.
We talked about the base
running.
running. I mean, you know, you only get 21 outs. You
Right.
can't give up 2 or 3 on the base paths.
Bottom line 0-0. We get to the 7th inning.
Wow.
The Indians have 2 hits in total at this point, but the other team doesn't have much more than that. Eddie Richie with 1 out hits a deep fly ball to right field. Abraham Haber playing right field had no chance at it.
Oh, he
Yes,
thinks he did. I
He
don't
did
know.
not. I mean, I was standing right
Good
there.
for him.
Off the bat, it looked like it. I said, "Holy cow, this is a home run! This is a home run. We're gonna win this game." Eddie Richie got to third. There's 1 out. He's standing at third. They walked the lead intentionally.
Right.
Pitched around him. Maurice Zolta hit a fly ball to right field again. Play at the plate on the tag up, safe.
Left
And-
early.
Left.
I saw
Go
it.
back.
I saw it from here. He left early.
And the Indians walked away with a 1-0 victory. Mikey Shalom was phenomenal against Alley, against Jimmy, especially in the early innings when they had men on with these big guys coming up. He got him to hit into outs. Deep fly balls, but he got him to get out. Huge performance.
So the Cleveland Indians have really resurrected themselves
Oh, yeah.
after you basically said, I don't know what's going to happen in the beginning of the year, but you guys are on fire. And I got to give credit to Mikey Shalom.
He's unbelievable.
I got to
man.
give credit. I still don't believe, but he's great.
You better believe it.
I
because
believe it
this is
now. I
feeling
see a record. I
Eerily
believe it.
similar to last year.
Yeah, it
Not
really
to tell you
is.
the truth, we won 6
I
out
don't know
of
if
8
I want any
games
part of you
now.
if we pick. I really don't know.
I
Even though
wanna
think
see-
you think I'm going to pick you, but I don't want any part of
I
you.
know you flirted with it last year.
And I didn't pick because you scared me, and I didn't pick you, and
Right.
I should have picked you.
I gotta see which team is gonna be crazy enough to pick the Cleveland Indians
No,
in the
man.
playoffs.
Working
I'd like to know what balls were you playing with? Were you playing with the gold balls?
According to Jimmy, I don't know what balls, which
Oh,
ball.
but I mean, Joe Jamal hit one over the left field.
Jimmy said we're playing with a ball that can't possibly move. You gotta squeeze it, this, that.
Yeah.
We said, all right, so switch it. We switched the ball. We didn't switch the ball, but Bobby ordered the wrong ball. He was going crazy the whole time about the ball.
Yeah, they sent us the wrong ball.
They sent us.
They
Oh,
sent
yeah,
us
the
the
right
whatever
ball.
it is.
So
the right ball.
we had a situation
Correct.
where,
I know
you
you
know, the outfielders started playing almost everyone where they normally play for me.
Okay.
In other words, you could hit line drives up the middle for base hits all day long, and Amy Cohen's, you know, catching them. He's playing DK like in short center field, and the guys that were killing the ball, you know, just high fly balls, outs and whatnot. When you're not playing with that gold ball, it's a different game, if you will.
Well, my sources are telling me next week we're gonna have the gold ball back, but we
Okay.
shall see.
Okay.
So I think the next game is Helter Skelter, and that was really not a, you know.
Helter Skelter versus Legion, very quickly. Game 1, Helter with a 5-run lead. And Legion of Boom fighting for their season. They need a sweep over here. Sam Nishon, previously traded, as mentioned many times, comes up with the bases loaded. He doubles home 3 runs, ties the game at 5. Later in the game, bottom of the 7th, Legion of Boom with a chance to win it.
Yeah.
5-all, bottom 7. First and second, 2 outs. Avi Dweck comes to the plate.
Just give him a minute to get set in the box.
Exactly.
He's not set. Just give me a second.
Very good.
He's set. Okay, I think he's set now.
Yeah,
He's
he's-
finally
It's
set.
Monday at 9:15. He's set.
And all that for a routine fly ball to end the Legion of Boom threat. They could have won it right there with a
End their
base hit.
season.
Top of the 8th, David Richley leads off. Base hit.
It's the clutch.
Missed the clutch.
Great
It's
player.
every
Great
week.
player.
It's every week. Max Sutton comes up after him, gets a little bloop single. With first and third, Meyer Safdie comes up to the plate.
Oh, Rabbi.
Base hit. Wins the game for himself.
Baruch Hashem.
Helter
Yeah.
Skelter then scored 8 runs in
Yeah,
that inning.
13-5 final score.
13-5 in extra innings, like your 12-2
Yeah,
game in
yeah,
extra
which
innings.
was we gave up.
I never saw scores like this.
Right.
Game 2 is interesting only in that it was a 6-3 Legion of Boom victory, but all the scoring was in the first 2.5 innings. Nobody scored after that. Game stayed at 6-3, and Legion of Boom, for the 4th consecutive week, got a split after
But
a
still got
dreadful
eliminated,
start.
unfortunately, because of their start in the beginning of the year. And Helter Skelter lost their right to control their destiny.
They did.
A big loss to Helter Skelter.
Big loss to them
Because-
because Henry Shallon's away. next week.
Well, either which way. I mean, they had the opportunity against a lower division team to get the sweep, knowing that
It's
the
a
Rockies
must
had already
sweep.
split.
That's a must sweep.
That's a must sweep. They've got the Astros at the end of the season.
With 9 guys.
I mean, they had to know Rockies and Astros were probably going to split.
Right.
You know, not for sure, but
They won the first game.
that going in.
Legion of Boom is dead. They won the first game, and Legion
Right.
of Boom has nothing almost to play for.
Exactly, and they still came and played.
And you just
Got to give them credit. Got to give Joe Eshko credit.
Yeah.
Gotta
Helter
give him
could have
credit.
been 12-4. They had to be thinking sweep against Legion
They just
of
put up
Boom.
an 8 spot in the last inning of the previous game. I mean, what else,
Everything was working for them.
Working.
Made no sense. But
Clearly, they took the pedal off the metal. I do hear Meyer did let his catcher cover home plate on the plate today, so that's
make
good
the play?
news. He did make the play. So Meyer, stay on the mound, stay where you belong. And now, before we talk about next week's matchups and the millions of scenarios that are possible, we have our Elias Sports Bureau over here, Albert Tawil.
I'll let you
He's
come
gonna
in
join us.
Take over.
No, you get still with us.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll
I
let you
think-
sit there and I'll
See if we can fit everybody.
I was hoping to get a melon break, but
I
okay.
Go ahead, please.
don't know. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Albert, welcome.
I'm always, as you know, 90% of the time I'm behind the camera.
Right?
So occasionally when I have the opportunity to be in front of the camera, it's always a very nice opportunity. So what I'm going to do today, go over the players of the week, announce
Okay.
that. We have 4 players of the week this week.
Wow.
After that, we're going to go to the whiteboard, the famous whiteboard from last year. And we're going to talk about the scenarios, the hundreds of scenarios that could happen.
We got the whiteboard back from
Yep.
Cooperstown just for this show.
We
It
did.
was sent after last week's epic
We did. It was
epic performance.
refurbished.
Yes.
And now it's going to be reused, and all the information will be on there. Before we go ahead, I have to say a few words. My family is very, very appreciative of all the support we got from the YMSL family, an outpouring of love we got during the week, and it was very nice to see the response from the league to what happened last week. So I want to thank everybody for your love, for your support, and one thing, my grandfather, every year, one of his favorite things was coming to Nathan Towell's house for the awards dinner. And then every year he was there, and every year he loved it. And every week when we come from the games, we go to my grandma's house, and he's always asking about what happened during the games, and then did Ricky sell enough drinks and all that stuff. and he's a big sports fan, and he really was always very interested in the league, and he loved coming to Nathan's house.
Big Italy soccer fan. from what I
Big Italian
understand.
soccer fan from his days in Milan. And the YMSL yearbook, there's a picture of the awards dinner in it from 2011, and he's right in the picture,
Nice.
sitting there. And every time he sees it on my coffee table, he used to say, I'm in that book, right? And I'd say, yeah, I know you're in the book, Grandpa. So he really is a big supporter of the league. He loved the league. And I want to thank the YMSL again for all the support. Also, this week Bobby wasn't able to come. And I want to give a big shout out to the YMSL staff for picking up, for filling the void. And a big thanks to the YMSL players being on their best behavior. I was honestly, Saturday night, I was having trouble sleeping, thinking about if there was an ejection or something, what would we do? Everything went smoothly. I want to give a big thanks to my brother Ricky. He handled a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that Bobby usually handles. And he drove around the whole day handling issues like a champ. And to the rest of the scorekeepers for doing a great job. Really thank you to all of them. For filling when somebody has to be away, it's important for everybody to be able to fill in, and the YMSL staff did just that, and I want to thank everybody. When I walked in, I was the scorekeeper at Meadowbrook, and when I walked in and saw Mike and Jason, I was literally
You almost
shaking.
walked out, right?
No, I'm not even kidding. I was shaking, and I said, "Oh no, Jason's gonna call some kind of appeal on something. Mike's gonna close his eyes and then make a call." And I want to thank them for being
Close his eyes.
for opening your eyes and opening your ears and upping the game like professionals. So thank you. But yeah, again, thank you.
So what do you want to do? Players of the week or scenarios?
We'll do players of the week first. So we got first player of the week. He was begging me to get it last week, but he didn't. My amigo Leo Casson.
It's gotta be.
Gotta be Leo Casson.
2 shutouts. It's a no-brainer.
Leo
Right
Casson,
there.
the Untouchables, 2 shutouts, and he went the last 28 innings giving up 2 runs. That's incredible. That's a .5 ERA in the last 4 games, and he's pitching lights out. Phenomenal defense by the Untouchables, helping him out. No doubt. But Leo Casson, player of the week, and we have word from Leo Casson saying little quote, I haven't been this happy since I got my green card. So very nice, Leo Cassidy winning Player of the Week. Second one, also from the Untouchables. We don't usually give 2 players of the week from the same team. It had to be done. DK, David Cassidy,
5 for 6. Okay.
5 for 6. The first game he was 3 for 3. And it wasn't a fake 3 for 3. It was liners, frozen rope 3 for 3. And he had 2 runs and an RBI with his father in attendance. The legend making very funny comments the entire time. He was looking at my drink list and seeing how much his son owed.
You should have got an interview there, by the way.
I should have. And he looked at his son's tab and said, he owes $4. What did he buy, a hamburger? What is he doing here? he was very attentive to the game and to the business going on. And so DK, congrats to Player of the Week. Eli Harari, the 3rd Player of the Week, going 5 for 7 for Helter Skelter, 2 runs and 5 RBI to help Helter Skelter to a sweep, which should have been a sweep. And Eli Harari telling us a quote, it would have been 7 for 7 if it were against Uncle Abady. So, wow.
We're going to have to look up his stats against Abady before I go with that.
Aggressive words by Eli. And the last one, Mo Shams, 3 for 4, 3 runs and 3 RBIs and 4 walks. So he reached base 7 times on Sunday. And Maurice not too happy about Jaime getting all the limelight. So
Mo Sham was intentionally walked 4 times to get the save on, FYI.
Oh, and what's Savon do behind that?
We lost one.
He said he left that on all day. So.
Right. So Mo Shams did reach base 7 times. Doesn't matter how he got there. He was intentionally walked because how good he is. So Mo Sham, Player of the Week. He did go 3 for 4 on his own merits.
Okay.
Anyway, so congrats to the 4 Players of the Week. So now we're going to take it to the famous whiteboard.
Yes,
and we're going to go over some of the scenarios.
I'll bring it to you.
No, leave it there.
Leave it there? You want to move it?
Leave it there.
There you go.
You know what? Bring it here. You're right. Bring it here.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Making it work.
Good? Chucky, help you something.
Bring it closer.
All right.
Do with Norman there.
So we have 4 teams that clinched, it looks like. We have the Rockies and Helter Skelter, both at 11 and 5. Astros at 10 and 6. And everybody's favorite, Cleveland Indians at 9 and 7. My first question for you, Albert, if you're ready to field some questions, is, I don't know if you're prepared for this question, but is there any way, if I get to 11 and 7, is there any shot the Cleveland Indians can get a bye, or no way?
No shot.
It may be a shot. I don't know if I've exercised that scenario yet.
Okay.
We will go through it. I actually do have tiebreakers here involving the Indians with a bye.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that.
Norman, what did you do against the Rockies and Helter Skelter?
We'll talk about it.
Split and split.
Oh, maybe.
No,
Okay.
the Astros, by the way, are playing Helter Skelter. So there's got to be a team with less than 7 losses.
Let's explain the chart quickly.
I just want to
Right.
say
Just
that.
clarify.
Helter Skelter is playing the Astros.
Right.
So let's explain the chart quickly.
You got that, Norman?
We have
Right.
The Astros sweep the
can't jump both of them,
You
right.
can't jump them both.
Can't jump
Right.
both.
We have
So no.
Right.
Thank you, Chuck.
Good.
We
Good
have
call.
10 teams here. 10 teams. We have the Legion of Bust on the bottom. Golden Knight of Summer above them.
Wow.
And we also have their Week 10 opponent listed for your convenience. So
Beautiful.
if you're watching the show on YouTube, pause your camera, take a second, pause your video, take a second to digest the chart. Become one with the chart before we
Become one with the
before
chart.
we dive into the,
I don't know if I'm prepared to come up with the chart.
Okay, so we're gonna.
I'm sitting on the couch with the chart. I'm becoming one.
Like the Stanley Cup trophy. Stanley Cup trophy.
It's very romantic.
Both Sally.
Oh, God. He's cheating.
So anyway, so we're gonna go before we talk about how people can make the playoffs and be eliminated from the playoffs. We're gonna talk quickly about who can get a bye and who can't get a bye.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Rockies, if you win one game, you get a bye, and the reason is if the Rockies win one game, they're 12 and 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Rockies are 12 and 5, right? So now you might say, well, the Astros are 10 and 6, and the Helter Skelter is 11 and 5. Why can't they both become 12 and 5, and knock the Rockies out? They're playing each other. It's impossible for both of them to get 12 wins because the Helter Skelter is playing the Astros. So if the Astros sweep,
Well, 12 and 5 is only 17. Give me another game in there somewhere.
Oh, 12 and 6. So if the Rockies go 12 and 6, you might say, okay, the Astros and Helter Skelter can both get 12 wins. They're both within range.
But
the
Helter
problem
can get
is-
13 wins.
Well, the problem is Helter Skelter's playing the Astros.
What if they sweep them?
Possible-
What if they sweep them?
If
If Helter Skelter sweeps the Astros.
so Helter Skelter sweeps the Astros,
They'll be
they'll have
13.
13 and 5,
Right.
and the Astros would have 10 wins. Then Rockies get the bye.
No, 13 and 5.
no,
They get
Skelter-
the bye.
Oh,
Sorry to screw you up there, but
no. I'm making a huge mistake. I'm going by last year's rules with top 2 get a bye, even though it's written right here.
Right, only one gets a bye.
Right. Okay, fine. So yeah, the Rockies would have to get 2 wins to get a bye, right? But if the Rockies tie with Helter Skelter, and you my eraser.
Yes, sure.
I got it. If the Rockies tie with Helter Skelter 12 and 5, okay, which is possible.
The Rockies get it.
you gotta go more than 12 and 5 because you need
12 and 6.
Rockies
sorry.
swept Helter Skelter.
Right,
13,
right.
Let's make them both 13 and 5. Let's make them both sweep.
Okay, so either way, if the Rockies tie
Rockies
with
win
Helter
it.
Skelter,
If they do the same thing next week, the
right,
first 2 teams,
the Rockies
Get it.
would get
On
it.
a
Rockies get it.
sweep
The Rockies
from Helter
swept
Skelter.
Helter Skelter. So that's
Absolutely.
very, very big win by the
Fine.
Rockies.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one thing we have to talk about.
Now, most of our viewers, according to our demographics, are from Houston. I mean,
Right,
the
right.
Texas
We want to
viewership
see-
is crazy.
We wanna
How can the Houston Astros get a bye?
Right. So the Astros would have to sweep to get the bye.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So if the Astros sweep, they are 12 and 6. Okay.
Okay.
We
So-
must get a split.
So that would mean that if the Rockies get swept, they'd be 11 and 5.
Right, I'm in.
Rockies get swept.
And they'd be 11 and 7. I'm sorry.
Right.
And if Astros sweep, that means that Helter Skelter got swept.
Okay.
Helter Skelter would get swept, 11 and 7. Astros would get the bye.
Okay, but what if the Astros sweep and the Rockies split?
I'm in.
And the Rockies split. Now that would be 12 and 6.
Right. So
This
who
would
gets
be
who gets
11
the,
and 7.
who gets
In
that
that
one?
case,
Who
Run
gets that?
differential, Astros get it.
No, the Rockies have the head-to-head over the Astros.
No, they don't. They split with us and we beat them by more runs.
Check the chart.
That doesn't go by
Right.
more runs. Maurice, come on.
Rockies and
Yes,
Helter
it does.
Skelter.
On a seeding.
Rockies and Astros split. It would go by run differential exactly.
And we
But
got
run
it.
differential total or
run
run
differential
differential?
between those two teams.
Before record
Just in those 2 games.
And we lost 6-5 and won 7-2.
Okay.
So we get it.
Chucky Abady's making a great point.
What?
I think the record we could check if you could check
I
the
think,
website.
I'm checking the website right now on my Dick
No,
Tracy.
What did he
Live.
say? What did he say?
iPhone.
What did he say?
Record against
Against
playoff
playoff
teams. We need
teams.
to check that. I'm sorry.
I get it also.
Slightly, Chucky's catching a little unprepared, but
No problem. Chucky's
uh,
all
catch
over
my,
us. Chucky, wow.
phones that if you can
I had like
check
9
check the website on your phone for the rules. So that also
I went to school for like 37 years.
check go to the website on your
I
phone.
will.
All right. So we'll talk about that after. But yeah.
Norman, you still
I think
think I'm
Chucky-
with the chart? What's going on?
Chucky, I believe you're right.
I'm getting mixed feelings from the
Wow.
shot this year.
Chucky, I believe you're right. We're gonna go now to the. Okay, so now let's say Cleveland sweeps.
Yes.
Okay. So
Ooh.
Cleveland goes 11 and 7,
That's right.
and if Cleveland sweeps, that means the Legion of Bust is even worse. And now, let's see. The Rockies get swept. Okay. So now that would mean they were 11 and 7 as well. Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's say the Astros and Helter Skelter split. Now that would mean a 4-way tie.
No,
No, I'm sorry. No, they split.
That would mean Helter is
Oh,
12
I'm
and
sorry.
6.
Yeah. So let's say Helter Skelter gets.
You're right.
Record.
Versus playoff
Yeah.
teams.
It's impossible for
It's
you to get
record
the bye.
versus playoff
impossible.
teams.
It's impossible for Cleveland Indians to get the bye because they're playing each other.
They're
So
playing
Chucky,
each other. Norman.
right, exactly. So Cleveland Indians cannot get a bye. What we call in the soft middle, where you can't miss the
He's
playoffs,
right.
but you can't get a bye. That's right.
Okay,
So you-
according to the website, by the way.
No,
the
Chucky's
rules-
right.
Yeah, it's head to head, then record versus
Do
playoff.
you know that off the top of your head
I
here?
don't know the record of the playoff teams.
Can we check that out now? So, because I know Sammy Towell's
We
watching.
can't check it out because we don't know
You
who's
can't
in the
check that.
playoffs
You don't know
yet.
who the playoff teams are at the bottom of the
Right.
Wow. So there's
Cardinals
something
could
being
be
left
in,
on.
the Untouchables could be in.
So-
So you gotta wait to see.
Cleveland Indians.
You
Cleveland
can
Indians.
check it against the top 5 teams
Right.
so far, but
Thank
you won't
you.
know the bottom 2 teams because it's not determined yet, Maurice.
Okay,
The Indians are stuck in limbo. They can't miss the playoffs. They can't get a bye. You're playing to get a better seed for home field
that's
advantage.
fine.
That's it.
So the bottom
Okay.
line is the top 3 teams are all alive for the bye.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
just want to make it clear, not to butcher you,
No, fine.
but the better seed for home field advantage may not come to fruition because they're going to be picked by
Right.
the 2 team.
Right.
So even if you finish with in third
Yeah.
place,
Right.
2 can pick to play you.
It
You
only
won't
matters
get it. You don't
if-
even
yeah.
get a home field.
Right.
You're right, you're right.
Right.
Okay, fine.
So you're at the mercy of whoever finishes second.
Exactly. It's a
Okay,
great call, Chucky.
let's talk about the most
Let's talk-
important thing,
who
is
can
getting
make the
into the
playoffs.
playoffs.
So as
Okay?
you know,
we have a log jam over here.
So 7 teams can make the playoffs. The top 4 teams clinched, and now we have Untouchables 8 and 8 in a very good position. We'll talk about that. Hebrew Nationals 8 and 8, not as good of a position because of the tie breaks. Cardinals 7 and 9, a little tough spot, and then we have Dodgers 6 and 10, and then the other two 5 and 11. So let's talk about one scenario. Just a couple criteria.
Again, interjecting. Yeah. The 9 and 10 team, are they eliminated? I'd like to say they are eliminated.
I want to say they're eliminated. Big disclaimer. I don't want to go 100% and say they're eliminated, but from all the scenarios that I've drawn up, and we'll talk about them, I don't see them getting in the playoffs.
I've done 1,140 scenarios.
Right. That's interesting since there's not.
They cannot make it with 11 losses.
It's interesting that you did that many. There's not even that many scenarios that's possible on Sunday.
I did some of them a couple of times because I was double checking. You know, I like to check my answers.
Doing different scores.
Right.
That's why I'm all over you. You know, I'm checking it. I'm double checking it.
Well, there's actually twice. Should we go over how many scenarios there are this week, or we'll just
okay?
No, let's talk about the Dodgers and these guys.
Okay,
how can they get in?
5 through 8. Yeah, one thing is a couple criteria before we go into it, a couple general rules. If the Brooklyn Dodgers lose one game at least, that means that they're 6 and 11 at least, or 6 and 12, or 7 and 12. If Brooklyn Dodgers lose one game, every team with 8 wins automatically clinches. Okay, that's how it works, right? So, and that also means if the Cardinals win game 1 and Brooklyn loses game 1, then the whole thing is over.
Okay.
Okay.
So if the Brooklyn lose a game, the playoff scenario is done.
Well, no. Well, the whole thing's over in terms of if you have 8 wins, because that means that the Dodgers can never reach 8 wins if they lose one game.
Okay.
So if the Cardinals win game 1 and the Brooklyn Dodgers lose game 1, that means that the whole thing is over. We know exactly who's
okay.
So right there here, Brooklyn loses plus
Card
win, and it's over. Okay, so now it's all set, right? Okay, whatever, it's all set. Okay, so just know that. Okay, now let's talk about a couple things. How the Nats, sitting here in 6th place, how the Nats could be eliminated. Let's go through that scenario. Okay, or do you want something? You want to?
No, do that. That's
okay.
It.
So
I got it.
If the so how can the Nats be out? Right. The Untouchables are playing the Cards. Okay. Let's say the Cardinals sweep the Untouchables. Untouchables are 8 and 10.
Correct.
Cards are 8 and 10.
No, if they sweep,
Cards are 9.
9 and 9.
Cards are 9 and 9.
Right.
They would be in.
Right.
Okay. Let's say the Brooklyn Dodgers sweep.
Go to 8 and 10.
They'll be 8 and 10, and they're playing the Nats, and the Nats would be 8 and 10. Okay.
3-way tie.
So now there's a 3-way tie for 2 spots.
Correct.
Okay. So now how would we go about that? We do head-to-head against the other 2 teams. Okay. So they would have the head-to-head, the 4 games you played against the other 2 teams.
Okay.
And in that scenario, the Brooklyn Dodgers are actually 4-0 against the Untouchables and the Nats. They would get seed number 6, and the Untouchables swept the Nats. They would get seed number 7. The Nats would be out.
Now, once you give them the 6th seed, you only do head-to-head between these 2 teams, right? You redo it.
Exactly. Sorry.
I remember that from last year.
I think it's called the NFL method. I think that's like the official name.
Okay.
That if when you have multiple teams head-to-head, after you award one team a playoff spot, you recalculate the head-to-head among the remaining teams. You don't just rank them 1, 2, 3.
But it's my impression that if the tie now is between the 7 and the 8 seed, that tiebreakers only apply to seeding, not to who makes the playoffs, and that the Nats would have to play the Untouchables in a 1-game playoff.
One exception: the only tiebreaker that could eliminate a playoff team is head-to-head.
Right.
Record versus playoff teams and run differential. They can award a playoff spot, but they cannot take away a playoff spot. Now we'll go.
So
I'll give you a scenario.
What does the Untouchables do against the Nats?
They swept them. They swept them.
You swept them.
2 shutouts.
Oh, today, this week.
That's why that matchup, that sweep was so huge.
Big for you.
You gained 2.5 games above them, not just 2. We're going to talk about a scenario where run differential is going to award a team a playoff spot, and that a 1-game playoff is going to decide the rest.
Okay.
Because that's how you see run differential could give you a playoff spot, but it can't eliminate you from the playoffs.
Right.
So let's talk about that. I have that here. So we have Cardinals. Let's say the Cardinals split. Okay. Cardinals split with the Untouchables. Cardinals would be 8 and 10. Untouchables would be
9 and 9.
9 and 9. They would be in. Okay. And now let's say the Nats lose 2 to the Dodgers once again.
They're both 8 and 10.
Okay. Brooklyn
Another
Dodgers.
3-way tie with different teams.
Okay. Another 3-way tie. And this is also for 2 teams. Okay. Now what did the Cards do against these other 2 teams? 2 and 2. I think they swept one and they got swept.
Okay.
What did the Nats do against these 2 teams? 2-2. And then logically, mathematically, BKD, 2-2. Now what do? We give the team with the highest record against playoff teams, you're right, I'm sorry, the highest record against playoff teams would get the 6th seed, and then we'd have a 1-game playoff for the last spot. Okay? All right. See, now the problem is, I would love to tell you who would get the 6th seed, but we don't know who's in the playoffs yet. I can tell you what the record is against playoff teams. Right. So, thank you.
When you do the thing against playoff teams, are these considered playoff teams or just the other teams above them? In other words, is it the Cardinals' record against?
It wouldn't matter.
Cards could be out of the playoffs. The Cards might not be out.
Well,
no, this is complicated.
How can you know who's in the playoffs? How can you calculate it with them if you don't know?
Whether they're playoff teams or not, they're 2-2 against each other, and they're done with the season. So they're a wash, and you're going to now go with their records against teams 1 through 6.
Right, exactly, because you don't know who. You don't know who's in the playoffs. Even if you know,
it doesn't matter. They're 2-2. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They're 2-2. They're 2-2, and they're 2-2.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like with 10 losses, you have a chance, possibly a playoff game.
But yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's why we're saying on all scenarios, 11 is too many losses.
11 is a bad number, right?
So we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a couple more scenarios. Then we're going to get down to the bottom of the standings and see how they lose every tiebreaker. We're not going to go over every one. But we're going to talk about how the Boys of Summer, Old Men of Summer, and Legion of Bust, even though they're technically enough games to reach 7 and overtake the Cardinals, they don't actually have any tiebreakers to win a playoff spot. We'll just go over one scenario where that's the case.
Okay, go.
No, we're gonna. Before we do that, I want to go over how the Untouchables could miss the playoffs.
Nice.
So Chucky could hear that.
Nice. Let's do that.
You don't want to hear
how
that.
How the Untouchables could be out.
Can't be out. Can't be out. I've done 1140 years.
Let's see.
They can't be out without a playoff game.
No, they can't be out. We'll show you why.
Yeah,
so,
can't be out.
No, but I want to show the scenario where they're closest and then show why they can't be out.
Let's see, go.
And I told Heidi Chapman we can't be out.
Cardinals.
You guaranteed him you make the playoffs.
That's a problem.
Sweep the Untouchables, right? We got 9-9. They're in, okay?
Okay.
Now, Untouchables go 8-7, 8-10, I'm sorry.
Right.
Okay? Brooklyn Dodgers, let's say they go 8-10, they sweep the Nats.
And the Nats.
Okay, and the Nats go 8-10. So now we have a 3-way tie for two spots. Okay? So now what we do is head-to-head against the other teams.
We did this already.
Yeah, well, not with these exact teams, did we?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they're 4-0.
Right.
Again, the Untouchables get in. So then...
so the Untouchables beat the Nats.
So the Untouchables
we go back again.
Yeah, the Untouchables have every tiebreaker.
So you're in.
Yeah. Disclaimer,
so how can they be out?
I think 99.9% chance
There's not a chance.
I don't have a scenario where I can
So Jaime Sham is happy now. Call him up.
Okay?
It's like 4 in the morning, no?
He's up.
Let's talk about how the boys... We'll talk about quickly before we...
Can I go back just for a second? Sure. Sammy Tawil is 8-4 against playoffs team currently right now, and the Astros are 8-4. If the Dodgers are out, we're both 8-4, and I would get it on run differential.
If two teams are tied of record against playoff teams,
then it goes to run
differential to award a playoff spot, but you can't take away a playoff spot.
No, not take away.
No, he's worried about the bye.
He wants
the bye. If it stays the same right now.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about a scenario. Before we wrap it up, let's talk about a scenario where Legion of Bust and Old Men of Summer both are in contention.
You have to do the same
Okay, go.
Okay,
so you have to finish with the same way.
Let's say Brooklyn. Let's say Brooklyn splits. Okay,
7-11. That's going to be the major number here. Brooklyn goes to 7-11.
Brooklyn goes 7-11. Okay, let's do that. And if they go 7-11, that means the Nats go 9-9. They're in. Okay, and let's say the boys and Legion of Boom both sweep to get to 7 wins. Right? That would be.
I like a piece of that action, by the way.
Right.
They're both talking about nothing to play for.
And we'll talk about that.
They're going to sweep.
Okay, so we have 7 wins, and let's say on top of that, the Cardinals get swept by the Untouchables, and they go 7-7, 7-11. Now we have a 4-way tie.
One spot.
Okay, for one spot, and in this case, we look at the record against the other 3 teams, the 6 games you played against the other teams, and the Cardinals, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, 6-0 against the other 3 teams.
Right.
Okay. If you look at the Cardinals, they actually have a horrible record against the top of the league.
Right.
They basically have their mediocre record by beating up on the bottom of the league.
They are 1-9 against playoff teams.
Wow.
Exactly. So Cardinals are 6-0. They would get the last spot, and everybody else.
That's why these 2 are eliminated no matter what.
Because they don't have. And there's another. So you might say, now what if Legion of Boom doesn't compete? boys of Summer are in the tiebreaker. Legion of Boom isn't, right?
Okay.
Let's figure that out.
Cardinals
that's
are
a
still
three-way
4-0.
tie. They're still 4-0, exactly.
Yeah.
So the problem is the Cardinals are undefeated against. The
That's
boys
why
swept
those two are
all these
eliminated
guys.
because of that.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
So the Cardinals are really in good shape, to tell you the truth.
Is there a chance they can be out?
No, they really, there is. Because
Yes.
the
The
Dodgers,
Dodgers could jump
If the
them.
Dodgers,
Right.
then here's what happened. Yeah, I have it
Right.
down right here. Exactly.
Dodgers
Say
sweep
that.
and we
And they're out.
Even,
what if they
even
split? Yeah.
Well, if the Dodgers sweep and,
And
the
the
Cardinals
Cardinals
get swept, then
No, let's say
obviously
they
they're
split.
out.
No, let's say they
what
split.
if they're both
Now,
8 and 10?
Yeah, so if they're
Then the Cardinals
if
have the
they're
head-to-head.
8 and 10, and the Cardinals are 8 and 10,
They're 2-0, the Cardinals.
okay. BK and the Cardinals.
Cardinals-
Cardinals would get it
Yeah, they're 2-0.
because they're 2-0 against Brooklyn. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? If
The only
Brooklyn
way
sweeps
the
to go 8
Cardinals-
and 10, Nationals would also be 8 and 10. So you'd really have the three-way tie.
It's the
there.
same
Oh,
scenario.
yeah.
Same scenario.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, fine. So
Exactly.
Dodgers,
But if-
bottom line
but
is
if-
Dodgers need to sweep
And the Cardinals need to
to get
swept.
swept.
Yeah,
And
so
then
in
the
order-
Cardinals are out.
In order for the Cardinals to miss the playoffs, the Dodgers would have to
Sweep.
and the Cardinals would have to
Get swept.
Get swept.
Right. And then the Cardinals are out. No max
Exactly.
CD.
Exactly. So not as complicated as last year. Last year we had 5-way ties, 4-way ties. We couldn't even predict all the scenarios, and also we had we can't forget about we had the third game. We had 2 triple headers in that last week.
Right.
That quadrupled the amount of scenarios that
This
were
is
able to
very
happen.
bad news for the Dodgers. They need a sweep and another
Right.
team to get swept. That's very
No,
bad.
just the sweep.
No, because if
They- the
They
Cardinals
get a
get
one-game
swept,
playoff. They can't be out. If they get a sweep,
No.
they're 8 wins.
the 8 wins.
And then Saka is also 8 wins, and they have the head-to-head over Saka. They can get in.
Needs to
Right.
Yeah.
Brooklyn
Right.
Dodgers have to sweep
Right.
to make
One
the playoffs.
loss, they're out.
One loss, they're out because of tiebreakers. Brooklyn
Right.
has to sweep.
And
Wow,
then they're in.
Maurice, you're all over this.
Hey, I'm trying.
You're
They're
all
not,
over
they're not
this.
necessarily in if they sweep.
But they're not out. That's for
They're
sure.
not out.
No,
But they're
that's-
in.
That's all they want to hear.
But they would be out if the Cardinals get a win.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, because
No, they
the
won't.
Cardinals have all the
The
tiebreakers.
Cardinals have a tiebreaker over
They'll
them.
have 8 wins, and they'll have the head-to-head over the Hebrew Nationals.
But
Because they
it's a
would have just
three-way-
swept them. But it doesn't matter. They won't be out. They won't be out. Impossible to be out.
Abraham's the Dodgers, right?
Right. You understand what I just said?
Well, if you have
Or
a,
it's-
if you have a 3-way tie where Brooklyn Dodgers sweep the Nats and the
Right.
Cardinals split,
Right.
So it's 8 and 10. They're all 8 and 10. The Cardinals would. What did the Cardinals do against the Nats? The Cardinals lost 2 to the Nats. That would be. So that's a whole snenario now.
Right. That's a scenario.
Wait,
they
Right
won't
of
be
that
out.
scenario.
Wait,
Let's
so-
do it.
Did you do that scenario?
So the Brooklyn Dodgers sweep the Nats.
Right.
So we have Nats
8 and 10.
8 and 10. Okay. We have Brooklyn Dodgers 8 and 10.
Right.
We have the Cardinals sweeping.
By the way, there's 2
And you
spots.
gotta bring the Untouchables in there.
And the Untouchables go down. They're 8 and 10.
Cardinals splitting. Let's
splitting.
Let's do first Cardinals splitting.
Oh, so the
8 and 10.
Untouchables are 9 and 9.
No,
Right,
no,
and you're
but
in.
after this, we'll do another scenario where
Right.
the Cardinals,
Fine.
where the Untouchables
Right.
are in
Well,
the
let's
mix.
put
We'll
the
do that.
untouchables in.
So,
Now you have 2
okay.
spots here.
Now you have 2 spots, a 3-way tie for 2 spots, right? So what did the Nats do against Brooklyn?
They would have got swept.
They would have gotten swept next week, right?
Yeah.
And then the Nats did against the Cardinals. They went 2-0, so that's just 2 and 2, right? And then Brooklyn
We're all gonna be 2 and 2.
would have swept. They would have gone 2 and 2, and they would have gone 2 and 2.
Right.
Right, and then we would have done record against playoff teams to award the first spot. 1 game playoff to get the second spot.
So they won't be out. Dodgers cannot be out if they sweep.
If they sweep, they
Right.
at least get a 1-game
At
playoff.
least, if not getting in.
Now, what happens if instead of the Cardinals splitting,
The Dodgers are playing
the Cardinals
Hebrew
sweep,
Hebrew
the
Nationals.
Cards would be in
Right.
at 9 and 9, and the Untouchables would be in this whole mess.
And we
at
did this
8 and
already.
10. We did
We
this
did
already.
that,
Same
yeah.
thing,
Right, we
exactly.
did
The
that.
Okay,
Untouchables
very
have
good.
it- Have the.
So I think we
said
got
the
it.
Untouchables have it. Have this tiebreaker exactly.
Yeah,
Wow,
we swept
okay.
the Nats.
Right. So that's what we do. If Brooklyn, keep this in mind, if this whole thing could be over after game 1 by 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. This whole league could
If
be
the
all
Dodgers
set.
lose.
The Dodgers lose game 1 and the that's the Dodgers just lose. Yeah.
You just
Dodgers
lose that, that's it. The playoffs
Yeah.
are solidified.
Yeah.
1 loss by the Dodgers, playoffs are solidified.
So it's all on the Dodgers to keep this the season going.
You're at 113.
Very good.
What field is that game on?
Field TBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I put them on Meadow 1.
Yeah.
All right, Chucky, sit down for a minute. Mo, give me 5 more minutes here.
you got it.
We got the prediction segment of the
You
program,
want to check
everybody's
this to see if
favorite.
it's correct? The lineup?
Okay. Let's start with the game at the top of the standings that has the possible implications for the bye over the first round of the playoffs. We have the Houston Astros Yours truly.
Versus Helter Skelter with 9 guys.
9 guys, no Henry, no Elliott Saka, and breaking news, I'm hearing that Maurice might have injured himself.
Oh my God, I didn't hear that.
Team's a mess.
Pipe that smirk.
I'm not smiling. I don't know who's going to pitch. But I want to tell you the no-lose situation. I know we have a couple of minutes. They're playing with a depleted team. If we lose to them when they come back and play us in the playoffs if we're in, they got Henry and they're excited. If we beat them, they'll say we didn't have our top guys. I'm in a
no-win situation.
You understand why?
Yeah, but you can sweep and get the bye, and you'll be very, very happy.
So I'm going to predict a sweep. I'm going to go right on the limb.
Breaking news.
Right on the limb. I'm going to think
news.
that my team will sweep them because they don't have their full team, but we have a lot of respect for that.
Chucky, what do you think?
I go with that.
You go with the sweep.
I'm going with the Astros. I don't think Helter Skelter put the nail in the coffin last week. They didn't step on them when they had the, leg on the throat kind of thing. They let that second game go to Legion of Boom. I think missing Henry, knowing they were already in the playoffs, and they were long shots for the bye anyway. I like the Astros in both.
I hate to do it with Mo right on my right hand here, but I like the Astros to sweep. I wish I could pick the Astros to get swept. I do it a lot, you know that, but I can't do it this week with the way they're shorthanded. By the way, even if they weren't shorthanded, I think I would pick you. I think the matchup, that team against your team, I don't think they can play with you, to tell you the honest truth. So we're all in agreement on the Astros taking 2. Next, we have the Colorado Rockies, Sammy Towel versus his brother Nathan Towel and the Old Men of Summer. It seems like the Old Men have been eliminated. That team is a complete and utter mess. Every week another story, another problem. And now they're facing the Rockies, who are 11-5 and are also going for the bye over here. So what do we think here?
So what I think, first of all, is my whole team went back and basically said, is Nathan Towel going to show up? He's got nothing to play for. His brother is Sammy Towel. His son is Jackie Towel. Doesn't he want to help them for a bye? So a lot of people are thinking that is the case and they're not going to show up. But Bobby has assured me that Jackie had and Nathan Towel are veterans and they will show up. But if I had to pick right now, even with their full team, the Rockies will sweep them and we will not get the bye.
Chucky?
I gotta go a little bit different than Maurice, my counterpart here. Because they're the veterans who they are, and despite the fact that they're already eliminated by all scenarios, I think at least in game 1, the boys of summer will rise to the occasion. This is their playoffs. They're not looking to go down as the worst team in the game. 5-12 or 5-13 is, Nathan could not live with that for the rest of the winter. So I have the boys of summer winning the game 1 and the Rockies winning game 2.
Okay, I'm going to agree with Mo Haber here for different reasons. I think I've played with Nathan a few times. We've all been on great teams, we've all been on bad teams. And I was on a bad team with him years ago, and we all showed up the last week when it meant nothing and had playoff implications for the other team. He'll be there, his team will be there, that's for sure. The only problem is his team is not half as good as the Colorado Rockies, and therefore they're going to get swept because the boys of summer are a complete mess this season from draft day all the way to end. He can't live with 5-13. I hope that's not true because he's going to have to live with being 5-13 and possibly should not be a captain next year.
Wow.
Terrible draft and terrible management. The whole Memmy situation,
You heard it
really
now.
bad.
That's breaking news.
Onward.
He's not even a future Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame.
He's in the Hall of
He
Fame.
made his speech already.
You're going to revoke that too? I mean, you're taking back the plaque?
Pete Rose would have been in the Hall of Fame as a player, not as a manager. Nathan is in the Hall of Fame as a player, clearly not as a captain.
I have to agree with you. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
to say that.
Thank you.
I love Nathan, but he's not a great captain.
And clearly not as a committee member because nobody on the committee this year deserves to be in any Hall of Fame.
Oh, the most
Only the Hall of
fiasco.
Shame. They show.
Wow.
Take offense to that.
Onward.
32 Hall of Fame.
I will say this, Nathan is an excellent captain
Oh my God.
in terms of game management and playing people and whatnot. He may not
He
be...
took Memmy out on a 3-1 count with men on the corners.
he may not be-
3-1 count. How's that good game management? You tell me that.
How about as a picker? Can I ask you?
No,
how
as
is
a
he as a
picker-
picker? Isn't that a big part of being a captain?
No, but he picks...
How about keeping his team
How about
motivated?
trading Ali
His
Marshall?
team is all dying to get
Taking
off
Jackie
that
Hadden as his best friend
He's picking
instead
too
of just
much.
going out with him.
He's picking too much with his heart. I mean,
You can't do that. You cannot do
What
that.
about the other 10 guys on his team?
He went to the semis last year.
What about Elliot Risty on his team, or Ikem, not Ikem Abor, a different situation, or all these
I
guys
think you
are on
made
his
your
team.
point. and I think I just have a difference of opinion in that.
Okay, you're
I think as
entitled
a
to.
captain, he's made many players better. He knows the game as well as anybody.
That's for
You
sure.
could cite 1 3 and 1 count. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know the ramifications. I could ask you 9 questions about the scenario before I can make a judgment. Who's on deck? Who's on? When you're coaching third, and you send the runner. Who's got the arm? Who's throwing from center? Who's on deck? How many outs? What inning? What's the lead?
Oh, Nathan definitely knows the game. Nathan
So
knows
let's
the
not,
game.
You know, let's not sell
A lot
short
of people know the game.
on that.
Bottom line
Not
is,
that many people.
Anyway,
a
we have
lot
a
of
difference in
people
opinion
know the
and we
game.
move on.
Okay,
Move on.
you
Move
tell
on.
me the scenario. You tell me the scenario.
Oh, wow,
We're
now
pulling
let's
a
go.
pitcher with a 3-1 count, 6 2/3 innings into the game.
But the result was
3-1
positive.
count.
The result
You
was
pull the
positive.
pitcher with a 3-1 count,
You
and
don't do
in the
that,
7th
Chucky.
inning with 2 outs. You
You don't
tell
do
me the
that.
scenario. You make
He
up
won,
a scenario
but you don't
where
do that.
where that works.
Chucky's speechless. I think we move on.
Come on.
Go ahead, move on.
Come on, I know he's your friend and everything, but
Best
let's go.
friend.
Let's go. Let's call
Love
the
you,
scenario.
Nathan. Love you.
You know, Patriot games. You know, he's my best friend.
All right, come on.
But you're gonna give him nowhere to go. You know.
All right, let's move on.
Onward. Hebrew Nationals versus the Brooklyn Dodgers. Brooklyn is desperate over here. They have Stevie Azer pitching today. Let's start with Chucky this time. Hopefully he's not speechless anymore and he can muster up some words.
Color's coming
Abady
back.
Saka, who you just swept, versus the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't see AB going down like 4 games. I think Brooklyn will bite the bit in the game 1. I think it's all over for the whole league in game 1. Brooklyn is going down in game 1, and you know, I don't care split or not, but I don't think Brooklyn's sweeping at all. So it's either Brooklyn gets swept or they split.
No more either. We got much slack from the 8 people that watched last week that you did. If they do this, you have to pick the 2 games.
Brooklyn gets swept. Brooklyn gets swept.
Brooklyn gets swept. Not so friendly with Marty the G like you are with Nathan, apparently.
I love Marty.
Mo, what do you
Marty
think?
knows the game also.
So I basically have a rooting interest for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Abraham Haber, my son, is on that team. And Abraham, you better concentrate on hockey this year because you have a terrible team. That team is terrible. Allie, Jimmy, you don't have a chance. You are getting swept.
Wow. You both pick a sweep just now, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow, different perspective now. I'm sandwiched here. The truth is, Brooklyn's offense is really struggling a lot. Allie and Jimmy, and not much after that.
And the opponent is AB Saka.
And the opponent's Abady Saka. Abady just got swept 2 games in a row.
But he pitched AB Saka-ish.
He's not getting swept.
They did not play great D. There was a couple of bloop RBIs in that game. He gave up, 3 to 4 runs a game. If you're not batting the ball and you're facing AB Saka, you're in a bit of trouble. I mean, A's is going to have to throw a couple of gems.
Okay. I'm gonna
What are
go.
you picking, Norman?
I can't see the league being over after 1 game at 11 o'clock. I gotta say that somehow Brooklyn wins game 1. They get all excited, and then Abady Saka slams the door on their face in game 2. So I'm gonna go with a crushing split for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Ultimately, they're out.
Exactly. And I hope they're on a field where I'm near so everyone can come by after, watch it if it's dramatic at the end.
Right, it'll be nice.
And see what happens from there.
Yeah.
Next, the Cleveland Indians. Wow, what attendance they had this past week. Standing room only at Fireman's East this week. It was amazing to see everybody. Versus the Legion of Boom. Indians are 9-7. Legion is 5-11.
So, first of all, Norman, I have to tell you, you did a great job. The Instagram, the changing of cities, you got that team together. You guys don't have a great offense, but all you need is great pitching and great defense. Wins a lot of playoffs and championships as you did last year. Legion of Boom, that's another story. They're eliminated. Do you think they're going to show? I happen to think those guys like each other. Zach, Joe Eshko, they won a game. They are... Oh.
Zach Ashkenazi out for the game. I believe he's in Israel, possibly.
Well, okay. Joe Eshko is going to show, but their team is terrible. It's a horrible team, and I see the Indians sweeping and going into the playoffs on a high.
Now, disclaimer before Dr. Abady makes his pick. He did pick Cleveland to get swept last week, and boy was he wrong, as Cleveland took out the brooms on the Dodgers. So, Chucky, what do you think this week?
So I learned my lesson. I don't know if that was a disclaimer or what the heck it was. But I don't think Legion of Boom is ready to put out the way the boys of summer. In other words, they're not that kind of a veteran team. They know they're eliminated. They're young. They'll come into the game, I'm not saying that word. I'm not saying that word, but I'm picking the Indians to sweep.
Okay, wow. Obviously, I'm going with the Indians to sweep. I mean,
All year you've been going with it.
all year. So I've been right 9 times. I've been wrong 7 times.
Good for you.
Okay, last game. Untouchables versus the Cardinals. Cardinals are in right now, but they know if Brooklyn sweeps that they could be out. So Cardinals 7-9. Untouchables winners of 4 in a row at 8-8. Chucky, grand captain of the Untouchables. Let's start with you with the easy prediction.
Easy prediction. You know, nobody on a team picks themselves to split or get swept. Cardinals, it's a kind of a guarded 7-9. Now that we uncovered the fact that they're 6-0 against the bottom 3 teams in the league.
Yes.
So they
Very
are,
telling.
like 1-9 against Astros and Rockies and Hebrew National, etc. So I'm looking to not back into anything. We've won 4 in a row. We're gonna, put the metal to the pedal and the pedal to the metal and sweep them.
I hate to say the 1-9. Their one win is against the Cleveland Indians in Week 1. Now that I'm thinking about it, what do you think?
So they haven't won a game against a playoff team since Week 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, your team's the opposite. You beat the good teams. You
Right.
swept the Rockies.
Right. If we had our choice in a playoff, if we were the 1 seed, we would not pick the Boys of Summer, obviously.
Obviously not.
If unbelievable captain and
You guys must have been celebrating when you saw they got eliminated. That one team that could bump you off in the playoffs is not going to face you in the playoffs.
And I was not there against Nathan. I don't know if he pulled any pictures in that game, but I was not there in the game against Nathan.
You missed a lot of drama that week. Insane.
So
what do you think?
I picked all sweeps today, as you guys could see. I think that Leo Casson is away, as you told me, which was breaking news.
Oh, that's right.
And I think it changes my whole opinion about this. I love you, Jackie Bawaba, but I think that you walk a lot of people, and I think that you're not going to be ready for prime time. And I'm sorry to say, Chucky, I think the Cardinals with Eddie Michon, Maxi Deed, and John Eliezer will sweep the Untouchables this week.
This Leo thing you just reminded me, it is a major factor. Oh, wow. And you guys also don't have Heine.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So now you
Okay, but
got to
on
think.
1,400 scenarios we're in, so...
Yeah, you're in, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen this week.
No, you know what? Untouchables are a better team than the Cardinals. I don't like that 0-6 thing. They can't beat good teams. I think the Untouchables are good. I think, believe it or not, Jackie Duabe is going to get it done. I like the Untouchables
Good luck, Jackie.
to sweep the Cardinals, and it would have given Brooklyn a chance to get in, but like I said, Brooklyn's going to end up losing in crushing fashion in that game too. And that's it. Wait till next year, famous saying in Brooklyn.
I just want to say, are we live on this telecast?
No.
We're gonna
So
be
we're not
still
live.
gonna be
Right?
live.
Ike, my nephew Ike texted me. He's not happy with the whining. Obviously, he's watching on TiVo.
Right.
Watch the
I'm not
last
happy
bit.
with the whining, but I gotta believe that if you're still nagging about a suspension that qualifies after an ejection, it's a bunch of whining. It is whining, and everybody follows the same rules.
So can I say
I
one
don't
thing
mean
that-
Ike is a whiner, but you can't just keep trying to change the rules in play. And whoever it was, Norwood deserved the suspension and the ejection and quit the whining.
So another thing to bring up to you. Sorry, Ike Mavora, you've been in our league for how many years? You haven't made the playoffs.
Can't make the playoffs.
You just can't make the playoffs. I don't know. It's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's been well.
Nephew or no nephew.
Right.
You gotta make the playoffs. It's easy to make the playoffs here.
7 out of
Even Norman makes the playoffs.
By the way, I didn't like that so many teams made the playoffs this year. 7 out of 10, I thought was a little
I think
too
it
much.
was perfect.
I don't like it when it's a little too watered down. I think 6 of 10 would have been the better number.
Wow.
Yeah,
I disagree. I like the 7 of 10.
It's becoming like
because-
NBA where everyone, if you're decent, you make it.
But
we could have an 8 and 10
You
team.
have to
in the
realize
playoffs.
3 out of the 7 teams are eliminated after the first round.
No, I understand,
There's
but
6
once you get
teams
in,
the
you're
first
in.
round playing.
I'm just giving my opinion. I
You're
think 7
entitled,
out of
but-
10 is a little too much
So-
to make the
Just
playoffs.
counterpoint, getting back to Ike.
Yeah, please.
This is not singles tennis over here. You're on a particular team. There's, great players like Ted Williams and Ernie Banks. They've never made it to the big show. They play on inferior teams. He gets picked very high. There's a lot of pressure with the pitching. He's not been in the league for 10 years. He's recently been playing in Brooklyn for many years. He's a great player. I'd be happy to play with Ike anytime. I think he's a winner.
Wow,
As
listen,
a
One at every
pitcher and
level.
outfielder. As a pitcher and outfielder.
He's a good outfielder and he's a good pitcher.
By the way, I believe Ted Williams did make it.
He's playing for a terrible general manager.
Oh, now,
First of all,
now he came back. Contradiction.
Yeah.
Contradiction.
I believe Ted
Chucky is
Williams.
too nice.
Blood, he's a great pitcher.
Politically Politically correct, Chucky.
Time out a second. Ted Williams made it to the World Series, but he just did not win a World Series.
Yeah, we didn't talk about making Charles Barkley, Ewing, they all made playoffs.
I think in '46 they were in the World Series.
We're gonna Google that because I don't think
so.
I don't think Ted played.
Get the whiteboard out.
He did. I think. I believe Johnny Pesky double clutched the ball behind.
By the way, we were doing a nickname trivia, and the nickname, you need to tell me the player whose nickname is Three Fingers.
Wow.
The nickname is Three Fingers. I pulled it out of, I don't want to tell you where I pulled it out of, but I came up with who it is. You can call anytime, 732-995-8942 if you know. And no Googling.
They already Googled.
No Googling.
I have
Nickname,
no
Jack Abady, I'm waiting for a text. Three Fingers is the nickname.
Can you give me the year?
It's early 1900s.
God.
And
That's for me, Chucky.
came to me Beruach HaKodesh.
Christy Mathewson. No. Okay. Onward anyway. So that's our predictions for the night. Bobby, we hope to have you back next week. This was crazy in between these two grand captains of the team. Maurice, I think your team has a very good shot for the bye. I really do. I think your team could go all the way if you could stop Mount Saban from erupting.
Got it.
Shake Sorley a little bit. Maybe don't get so down every time your team is down.
Yep.
And if Farkas stays healthy.
Of course.
And you let Moshe Amna hit away
Hashem.
instead of going for those grounders to first base.
Grounded to first base. Wow.
Your team is hot, 10-3 with Eshko in the last 13 when Eshko pitches.
Absolutely.
Your team is hot, 4 in a row, 2 straight shutouts, 2 runs in the last 4 games.
And your team is very hot.
And my team's
with
hot.
the Instagram, Mikey Shalom, and one before, and I think you have a good chance. I think anybody could win it this year.
Okay, so let's make one pick. Who do you think's gonna win it if it's not your team?
Good question.
It's not your team. Your team is your obvious choice. But who do you like to win it all if it's not your
Right
team?
now, even though we'll talk about it next week, if I had to pick one team right now, oh my God, I hate to say it.
Do it.
Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, you know it. That's right. You
Hate
can
to
say
say
it.
Okay.
You?
I can't see the Cleveland Indians not winning. I can't see it.
It's not the question.
If they don't win it, I'm going to go crazy over here. Hebrew Nationals if the Cleveland Indians don't win.
That's not a bad pick.
That's not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick.
Nothing's a bad pick. I'm going
You know the truth, Chucky. Just say
Be
it.
the truth.
Helter Skelter.
Wow.
Really? There you have it.
one
Make sure you
differential.
record this.
Guys, we'll see you next week. That's right.
Pleasure.
The Run Differential.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Thank you for
Have a
joining.
good one. Thanks.